Hey guys, it's Ike, and welcome back to another edition of Bad Ramblings, the series where I ramble on badly. In this video, we are going to be talking about a Korean Yuri webtoon called Pet's Aesthetic by Team Gaji. Now, Team Gaji are also the same people who created What Does the Fox Say, and to the people who haven't read that webtoon before, it's a giant dramatic cluster of a love triangle. And would I recommend you reading it? I would say that if you're looking for a more mature story where the characters are way well past their high school days, then I would say yeah, just give it a try. I wouldn't fully recommend it, mainly because it is a K-drama condensed into a webcomic. Before we continue, a little bit of a backstory. I remember seeing the cover for Pet's Aesthetic, and I thought that it had BDSM elements in it. That was literally the only reason why I started. I saw the cover, I saw two girls with collars and leashes on them, and the title was Pet's Aesthetic. What else was I supposed to freaking believe? Just for the people who might think that there's some BDSM element in there, there isn't, so that was a little bit of a disappointment, but whatever. This actually is one of the first, maybe not the first, but you know, one of the rare Korean webtoons where I didn't get extremely frustrated or just angry at it. Instead, those feelings are replaced by uncomfortableness and just overall confusion. By the way, if you've been enjoying these bad ramblings, remember to leave a like, and if you haven't subscribed yet, remember to do so for more Yuri content. So, what is Pet's Aesthetic about? Well, let me just read you this really short summary, and also, again, as I say to all my Korean webtoon videos, I apologize for butchering the Korean name. Anyways, Jua is a university student trying to come to terms with her feelings for her childhood friend Cho-Ul, a story of longing for the person you love while being afraid of losing them. Actually, there was this other summary that I saw that I thought about reading, but I realized it kind of gives you a wrong impression of the webtoon, and also it also kind of freaking spoils the entire thing, so what's the point of reading it? Alright, here's my spoiler-free review for Pet's Aesthetic. This webtoon only has 8 chapters, so it's a pretty quick read. I really like chapter 1 to 5 as the build-up to the climax that is 6 and 7. I really like the portrayal of the sexual tension that Jua is feeling towards Cho-Ul, and even though we only have 8 chapters, the character chemistry between those two are rather flourishing. The issue comes from the climax itself and also from Cho-Ul as a character. Unfortunately, since her birth, she's been suffering from an incurable disease that is called a permanent resting bitch face. She does not change her expression, and if she did, it'd be so minimal that you wouldn't even frickin' notice. It also doesn't help that Cho-Ul constantly reminds me of Sanji from What Does the Fox Say. The climax is where the uncomfortable part takes place, and you'll know when you read it. The story ends rather abruptly, with a lot of questions unanswered. There is chapter 8.5, which goes more into Cho-Ul's perspective, that kind of fixes some of the, not fixes, but, you know, answers some of the questions I had, kind of. But overall, I'm still really confused, but I'll talk more about that in the spoiler arena. In terms of the art, I would say if you have read What Does the Fox Say, you basically already know the art style when you head into Pet's Aesthetic. I kind of like it, I also kind of hate it, the way the faces are drawn sometimes, the weird body proportion, like the way sometimes they look very lanky. I kind of don't like that, but also the smut scenes are pretty nice, and I'm totally okay with those, even though sometimes, again, the body kind of look kind of lanky. But you know what? It's a love-hate relationship that I have for Team Gaji's art style. Other than that, I don't really have anything else to say that isn't a spoiler if I haven't spoiled the entire thing already, because then sometimes I do that by accident, and then I edit it and I leave it in anyways. So yeah, that's gonna be it for the spoiler-free arena. I will now be heading over to the spoiler arena. If you haven't read this yet, again, it's a quick read, only 8 chapters. And I would say just check it out for yourself so you could form your own opinion and not just see me be very confused. But if you're totally fine with spoilers and you just want to see me be confused and maybe be confused yourself, then go ahead. Do whatever you want to do. I'm gonna go over here if you need me. In the prologue, we see that Jua and Cho-Ul have slept with each other, and it's in Cho-Ul's perspective, just saying like, oh, can't believe it, I slept with my best friend, I wonder what she'll think in the morning, or whenever she fucking wakes up. And then, as I said in the review, chapter 1 to 5 is great. I really enjoyed those chapters, and if you still haven't freaking read this and you're in the freaking spoiler arena, just freaking read it. I genuinely enjoyed those chapters. And then chapter 6 hit, and okay, so Cho-Ul is basically just pushing Jua to the climax that is chapter 6, because Jua has a crush on her friend, but she started having more, sexual dreams about her, and that gets her all hot and bothered about Cho-Ul, who is still in this like we're best friend mode, so let's be super close, they'll take baths together, they'll sleep together in the same fucking bed, and to Cho-Ul that's just normal shit that they've always done because they've been friends ever since they were little kids. However, for Jua, that's a big no-no. All this closeness, this sexual tension that is building up inside of her, it finally bottlenecks and it bursts into chapter 6 and 7. So somewhere around like chapter 4 or 5 or something, they have this reunion party, and they went off to karaoke. I went on this tangent about timeline, even though I think it's pretty straightforward, but somewhere in the back of my head, I continuously doubt myself, and my brain is just telling me maybe it's not a straightforward timeline. But anyways, let's just move away from that, and I also forgot what I was talking about. The karaoke party, that's what I was talking about. So, in the karaoke party, it was this high school reunion thing. They left that party, they went to karaoke party instead, and everybody else left except for our 2 main character. Had a few drinks, had a few cans of beers and stuff. They party. Jua sees that Cho-Ul is asleep, so she decides to take advantage and place a little peck on her lips. Unfortunately, Cho-Ul was awake, and she was like, hey, didn't we do this before? Haven't we done this before? And Jua just plays it off and saying, yeah, we've done it before. Why did we do it before? It's probably because we were bored. Girls in high school, am I right? We're bored, so let's kiss each other. Jua takes Cho-Ul back to her place, Cho-Ul's place, where Cho-Ul ends up just pushing her down and giving her a big fucking smooch. And she says, I don't remember whether it's in her head, but it's most likely it was what she was thinking. She had said that she didn't do it out of boredom. She did it because she wanted to. Anyways, this whole kiss thing, again, continues this sexual tension that just builds and builds until it finally bottlenecks and chapter 6 hits. And I don't know, this is very confusing. So Jua goes over to Cho-Ul's place where she's currently sleeping, and she basically decides to sexually assault her. Fucking Cho-Ul wakes up and she's like, what the fuck's going on? Why is my best friend on top of me? And why is her hand sticking in her vag? What's going on here? The lust has taken over Jua at this point, and she just begs Cho-Ul to just fucking finish her off, and that she'll do anything for her. She'll do anything that she says, kind of like a pet, or kind of like a dog, more like. So Cho-Ul accepts Jua's request and finishes her off, which eludes this from being sexual harassment. But, there's just very curious things that she says that makes me think. This is the thing that kind of confuses me, is that Cho-Ul, for some reason, eludes this weird asexual energy. Like, I'm getting this weird asexual energy vibe from her, and I I don't know. I don't think they written this character this way, but just the way that she acts, and also the big thing is the fact that she has a permanent resting bitch face. I don't even like how am I supposed to know what the fuck you're thinking? It just looks like you're fucking bored while having sex. Even though at some point where she's like where she's groping Jua's tits and she's like, oh well, this is fun. It just says, this is fun. Yeah, I mean, I suppose after Jua climaxes, Cho-Ul just looks at her finger and says, you go rest, I'm gonna go wash up. And if Jua didn't stop Cho-Ul towards the end of the chapter 6, I felt like that literally would have been it. Like, Cho-Ul just decided to satisfy Jua's sexual tension, and that was it. She was just gonna, what was she gonna do after that? She was just gonna wash up and they were just gonna go to fucking sleep. We don't know what would have happened, but we do know what happens next, which is Jua stopping Cho-Ul and saying like, hey, let me satisfy your tingly bits too. So anyways, we get into chapter 7 where Jua is now the one who is, I don't know, she's doing something. One of my favorite shot in that chapter is just Cho-Ul laying on the bed like this with her fucking legs crossed while Jua is like coming towards her. I swear, that face of hers is the face that just says, who gives a fuck? Like, what is happening? And so, Jua goes down on Cho, and like, Cho just looks so fucking bored this whole entire time. Like, her expression, sometimes you kind of see that little smirk in her, but the other time it's just like, is she even feeling anything? Like, what's happening? Jua goes down on her, right? And like, we barely see any reaction from her. And then she just stops Jua. She doesn't say anything, but she just like kind of grabs her head as like a motion to stop. And then Jua, so fucking inside her own head because she's still so filled up with lust, she's like, did I do well? And Cho-Ul's like, yeah, you did well, even though there's like barely any fucking reaction from her. And so Jua's like, I can do better. And so she goes and she starts grinding on Cho-Ul. They're basically scissoring at this point. And again, Cho-Ul looks so fucking bored that that I'm kind of like, I don't really think she wanted to go this far. She was probably just fine with satisfying your urges because there's so much disinterest in her face. And my second favorite part of this chapter is after Jua climaxes again for the second time, she faints and she goes to sleep, and here's Cho, who's kind of like, oh, is that it? Okay, what a great climax, I guess. And then we hit chapter 8, which is even more confusing. It also takes us back to the prologue, to where, you know, they've slept with each other for the first time now. And so they take a shower together, and Cho asks Jua what they are now. Consider that, yeah, sure, they were friends, but now they had sex, so what are they? And Jua, for some odd reason, tells her that she's okay with the way that they are now, and you're fine with being friends with benefits? Is that what you're saying? So she says she's so totally fine with that, and then that kind of continues on to the ending, which the both of them go to Jua's place where they end up having sex, and Jua asks Cho, hey, are we friends? And Cho just tell her to shush, you know, just shh. What the fuck does that mean? What the fuck is your relationship? Where are you guys fucking going? Again, are you guys just friends with benefits? Or is Cho just gonna satisfy your fucking urges whenever you feel like it? Because again, it doesn't look like she's fucking interested in having sex. And even the way the words that Cho-Ul says, because we do get a little bit more perspective into Cho-Ul. The way that she says it and the way she kind of describes this whole sex thing that they had is that she likes the reaction from Jua, and she likes seeing a face from Jua that she has never seen before. And I thought, okay, that's cool, but that also sounds like someone who's fucking asexual, and like, yeah, sure, they'll have sex, but it's like they're not really there for the pleasure for themselves. It's just mainly for their partner, and that whole like, I like the reaction and I like the face, you know, like I like the expression that you never see unless you were having sex. That just sounds like someone who's fucking asexual, but again, I don't fucking know. I don't think that's how her character was supposed to be, but even then, I don't know whether it was intended or not. Also, in the conversation in the sex that they had, Cho-Ul says that she expected this to go this way eventually, and in chapter 8.5 we kind of know from Cho-Ul that she recognizes that Jua has had a crush on her this whole entire time, and that could possibly be one of the reasons why she's, you know, a little bit more, I don't want to say a little bit more pushy, just being like that closeness or not. Who knows whether she's doing that or if it's still just a normal thing, because even Cho thinks that even Cho, again, she knows that Jua has a crush on her, and that's why she's never bothered about them taking a shower together, even though they're both girls and they're not kids anymore, or even just like sleeping on the same bed or something like that. So like I'm just trying to go into Cho's head and try to fucking figure out her character, but also the way the story ends, it just felt like Team Gaji was just like, I don't want to do this anymore, let's just end it. No mas. Wow, that was fun. If I have anything else to say, you can check it out at ikrat.com, or if you just want to see my mild ramblings where I don't ramble as much because me typing is a lot better than me speaking. So what you think about Pet's aesthetic? Did you like it or did you not like it? Remember to leave it in the comments down below, and you know, I always like having a conversation with you guys. Other than that, please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. I've got my social medias. Check me out on my Twitter, my Instagram. Got my Discord as well if you want to come on and hang out with me and a few other cool individuals. Other than that, I'm just really tired, so I'll just see you guys in the next video. Adios!